Nulgath's birthday is almost upon us, and that means his seasonal farming pets will be back in stock very soon. But that poses the bigger question, and we've looked at this in the past: which farming pets are actually worth buying, or potentially even investing an item of donated awesomeness into one of the ones which has previously gone rare. We're going to go through a variety of the different pets that are in game. Some of them will be rare, some of them are still buyable, and some of them will cost you a lot of ACs, starting with Drudgen the Assistant. The thing is, with Nulgath farming pets, it is very much pay to win. You're going to have some form of payment, be that member, be that ACs, or other, for the vast majority of these pets, if not all of them. Drudgen the Assistant will set you back 5,000 adventure coins. It is worth noting the only quest here that requires you to actually have the pet is the contract exchange quest, which is probably one of the better ones, and it pairs up really nicely with the Crag Bamboozle version of this quest, so that is worth bearing in mind. He also has the voucher item Totem of Nulgath quest. That is incredibly useful because totems are one of the more annoying ones to still get, and do bear in the back of your mind, with all of these farming pets, you can go along and do spin the wheel of chance, obtaining the relics of chaos needed as a free player. Some of the quests as well will be featured from other NPCs, so you can go along to Nulgath for a lot of the quests shown in this video, and you'll be able to accept them that way without needing a pet at all. So always double check through a lot of this before you go ahead and spend particularly 5,000 adventure coins, and if you don't own Drudgen, you can click on his NPC marker to access the majority of those quests. Here we have got Crag Bamboozle, also from Nulgath shop here at Turk, and also costing you 5,000 adventure coins. Out of the two pets I've shown you so far, Crag Bamboozle is by far my favourite one, just because first of all you have Crag and you can do this lovely daily grumble quest. So you have Crag's quest and you have Bamboozles. Now Bamboozles generally are the ones you'll be farming with. Later on in the video I'll show you my fast farming method, fully pay to win, that I always use when doing Nulgath farming, but it will require quite a few pets, and one of them being Crag Bamboozle. So he has got the Diamond Exchange quest, which is the opposite of the one that Drudgen has, and then we have also got this one here, Bamboozle versus Drudgen. You turn in Tainted Cores, which gives you Relics of Chaos. Tainted Cores are dropped by Tainted Elementals. There's also a couple other exclusive quests attached to this pet, which I'm just flicking through on screen now, so at least you get a full picture of everything that is available. Our next pet takes us over to Swindle Bilk, still at Turk. It is worth first of all saying though, do make sure you check out his quests here. If you are doing supplies to spin the wheel of chance, make sure you're doing Swindle's return policy. You collect up those unidentified items that you probably always bin off, and you can get yourself receipts of Swindle using the Ripoff Emporium, and also can choose yourself any of the items listed below. Now then, we have got Swindle Bilks to Go Hut available here. It costs 2,000 adventure coins, and it's pretty decent. Again, most of the quests match up directly with the general NPC ones we showed you just a moment ago, but there is a bonus quest attached to this one, including Swindle's bonus deal right at the bottom. It uses more of those unidentified items you get from supplies to spin the wheel, and you can turn them in for further items again. Once we get to that, that should make a little bit more sense to you, but you can use it alongside Swindle's return policy together to essentially double your item return and make those useless items even more relevant. It is one of those luxuries. If you have 2,000 adventure coins, you can always do it. It will significantly speed up your farming, but it is by no means essential to have when you're going through, because you can just accept the standard quest instead. Here we have got the Nulgath Larvae. This one is a quest reward from Drudgen the Assistant. If you would like to get yourself a Nulgath Larvae, it's a pretty cool pet. It takes you along to the Mana Golem. I'm sure you'll remember him over in the Arkengrove saga. Once you equip this pet though, again, anyone can access it, so you do not need to be necessarily the owner of the pet to gain access to Nulgath's Roulette Wheel of Misfortune, which you can also grab from the main Nulgath NPC, as well as other locations and quest pets that also feature it. It is on a fairly low drop rate sometimes to get the Mana Elemental item. Personally, I feel this is more of a way of the past, and I'd just be doing supplies to spin the wheel where you can, but it is still there as an option. I'm sure some people absolutely love using it still. Next up, we're talking about the 8th Betrayal Blade. This is a quest reward. You can get it off the Misfortune Wheel quest that we just showed you a moment ago from the Nulgath Larvae. When this first came out, I loved this pet because it was just really cool having a quest pet that you could click on. That was my mindset when I was younger anyway. But the majority of these quests, if not all of these quests, you can just go pick up from Nulgath directly. So I would not stress over really any of these unless you just want to have them handy, and then take out the need to travel to Nulgath to pick them up. That is the main perk to this. I would not be using this though for any form of farming, to be honest with you. The Leary contract is one of those quests that used to be great for farming gold. There's better methods nowadays, but it is still there. So if you were stacking items up, you could always do that. All of these are showing us unlocked for me. There may be some bonus requirements behind them, but you can always check that out if you do pick the pet up. I just find the farming quests attached to that one are a bit outdated, especially if you're going through pay to win mode. Here we have got Tendurrr the Assistant, our drop item. This is dropped by the Dark Macais. This is a quest pet I would firmly be using as a requirement for other quests, as opposed to going through using it as my go-to farmer. However, the quests and rewards are not totally useless. You will need other farming pets to be able to go through and do them though. So you'll need to have Drudgen, you'll need to have Crag Bamboozle, the Oblivion blade, etc. But the rewards aren't too heavy, and the rewards are quite nice. So it could be something worth thinking about potentially if you're in that situation, but it just depends whether you want to go through farming certain items like essences to turn in that quest. Okie dokes, here we've got the Sword of Nulgath, another one I just have ready for collection purposes, or just to make it a little bit easier instead of travelling to Nulgath each time. As you can see, there is the purchase the Sword of Nulgath right here, and you'll pick it up. It is essentially exactly the same as the 8th Betrayal blade that we saw earlier on, but it does make it a little bit quicker instead of running to Nulgath each time if you want any of those quests. Bounty Hunter's Drone, 2000 ACs this will cost you. It is seasonal, it will be back this year for Nulgath's birthday. The quest on it is not useless. There is also a second quest. The weird thing with this one is they charge you 500 adventure coins for the second quest. That is the only difference between this and the next pet you'll see in just a moment. The rewards are fairly low. I feel if they got buffed up, it would make the drone much more worth it. And as I said, just remember this identical copies quest gives you a armor customizer pet, which is what the extra 500 ACs is for. Whereas you could buy the Nulgath birthday gift pet for 1500 ACs, and then you'll just get that first farming quest we saw a moment ago. I personally wouldn't be buying either of these. I'd spend my ACs on something else unless they change the rewards from these quests. I just find it's very slow, long grind when you're going through using either of those, but that's just my take on them. Here we've got the Nulgath Challenge Pet. We are now into the rare section. If you want any of these, you will have to use an item of donated awesomeness if you do not own them already. I love the Nulgath Challenge Pet. I really like it. This is a daily quest. Do not be fooled. So you can only do this once per day. It's how I used to get all my blood gems. It was really easy to stack them up, and it made farming so much quicker because I didn't have to put loads of hours into it. So this one is worth a think about potentially if you're someone that wanted to spend an IODA. I do quite like this pet. You do get this contender challenge as well. It's more for the pole arm at the bottom, but you never know. So that's something you could potentially think about, but that is up to personal preference. We have then got the Oblivion Blade of Nulgath Pet Rare. I love this one. It is probably my favourite Nulgath pet. I love the fact you can click on it and you can click on it like this and make it into an NPC. It's great. Love it. You can get the Champion Blades of Nulgath from here. As you'll see in a moment, I also use this for going through doing my super duper farming method. That is because there is the Dark Deal Rare quest. There's also a load of other rare items that you're able to get, or pseudo rare, because you can still pick them up from these quests. So it is worth looking at if you haven't ever had a peek at this one before on the wiki, just to fully get the idea of it. But I will show everything as we go through. The reason this quest is so good, it rewards you Relics of Chaos for Tainted Souls, and Tainted Souls drop from the Tainted Elemental, so you can pick up Tainted Souls whilst you're getting Tainted Cores for Crag, doubling your farming rate, as you'll see very soon. It is great. That is the way I go about farming Nulgath items. There's a Champion Blade we mentioned. They look lovely. You can also get a dual wield version, or at least you used to be able to get the dual wield version over at Nostalgia Quest. This leaves us though with one last rare quest pet to look at, or two depending which way you want to go about this. The Crimson / Astral Orbs. I do not have either of these, so I'm not going to pass judgment on them. We'll flash them up so you can see the rewards. I'm not sure on the percentage drop rates etc on these, so tread carefully with these two. Generally though, people say they are quite good quest pets, but I'm just still not convinced it's going to be quicker than the main methods using supplies to spin the wheel, but I'm sure people will let us know down below, so check the comments just in case anyone said about those, but you would have to IODA them, so they may not necessarily be worth it. Let us talk about fast pay to win farming. This is how we do it then. So Oblivion Blade of Nulgath goes on, and we can accept the Dark Deal Rare quest. We're going to be getting Tainted Souls for that one. We'll then flick over to Crag, and we will put on Crag Bamboozle. Make sure you accept the daily from Crag if you haven't already, and then you can go along, click on Bamboozle, and we'll take supplies to spin the Wheel of Chance, and we'll also take Bamboozle versus Drudgen. The weird thing with that quest is I'm certain the Crag supplies to spin the wheel and the Drudgen used to be different. There used to be a drop rate that was different on one of these supplies to spin the wheel, but I couldn't find a trace of it anymore. So whether that's just not a thing or whether I'm looking in the wrong place, again, I'm sure someone will point that out to me. We also want to make sure we have got Swindle's return policy and also the bonus still accepted from Swindle, Bilks to Go Hut. And then you just need to stack up Tainted Souls and Tainted Cores. They stack to 13. You will find generally one of them will drop quicker than the other, so you'll be turning these in at different rates, but the point is you'll be going through them nice and quickly. If you do not have access to the Nulgath map because you're no longer a member, you are able to go along to Terrascuma Lotomalim, and once you're there, there's also a Tainted Elemental within the cave system, but it's a bit of a pain to come across, so you may have to find the right route to take for that one. Anyway, once you've done that, you can start turning in these different relics. And then once you've got the relics, you can then use supplies to spin the Wheel of Chance, which is great because, as you can see, lots and lots of items, lots of Dark Crystal Shards, all sorts going on. It's the same method at this point, depending which way you're doing supplies to spin the wheel. You could be doing it free player, you could be doing it pay to win, or you could be doing a little bit of both in there. But there's lots of different ways to turn it in. It's definitely my preferred way to go Nulgath farming. Probably the majority of people's preferred way, especially we can wrap through items this quickly. There is something worth noting though, because not only when you turn all of these in, you're getting lots of rewards, you're getting all those unidentified items. And as we said earlier in the video, you're going to be using these for your return policies, your Swindle Bilk quests this time around. However, annoyingly, I had to reinstall my Artix launcher, so my block list was no longer blocking all of the identifieds. But what you do want to do is the ones you don't need, just hold Shift as you click on the red cross and it will ping up the option to add an item to the block list like that. You can say yes and then it won't be dropping anymore, plugging up your space. So you should eventually just get the unidentifieds that you actually need. You can just accept them and it makes the whole process so much smoother. As you can see, this is the bonus still. You need the Swindle built quest pet for that one. You can still do the standard one if you pick it up from the NPC directly over at Turk. You turn it in, you get yourself receipts of Swindle and you can pick yourself a bonus item. I always go for blood gems just because I find them the hardest to get. Ripoff Emporium, very important to note, you can spend your receipts here and also your unidentified 10s, get yourself even more Nulgath Regents. Anyway folks, I hope this video was helpful in some way, shape or form. Do consider leaving it with a like, make sure to subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you all again for another one incredibly soon.